Is going to go over Illustrator to After Effects techniques for this operative diagram. So what I've got in front of me on my screen here right now is the operative diagram, broken out into 7 steps that I've completed in Illustrator. And what I need to do is I need to arrange these so that they are all aligned, including the text, and redo the artboard size so that it matches what I want in After Effects. I have all of my layers set up here so that step number 1 in my operative diagram, I have these layers here that are correspond to step number 1, and then all these ones here correspond to step number 2, etc., etc., etc. So I've got 7 groups of layers. I'm going to select everything that's on my layer 1, or my step number 1, all of these layers here. I can just draw a box around all of these. Grab this anchor point here with my black arrow and just start aligning all of these, and see when I drag it over another anchor point, it turns into the white arrow. That means that it's snapping nice and precisely. Right? And I'm going to grab all of these and do the same thing from an anchor point here. You see I'm snapping to an anchor point, and there with my white arrow, snapping. And it was going to do that all the way until I overlap them all. My new artboard with all of the diagrams, all 7 of them, now overlaid on top of each other and aligned. So there's number 1, and then number 2 there, so on and so forth, all aligned, including the text. And you'll see that my artboard also is set to 1920 by 1080 pixels. Resized it because that's what my video size wants to be as well. And I'll save this as a new file. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back through and I'm going to further break this up. I'm going to make 7 copies. One file for every one of these steps. Here is my step number 1. And you can see I've cleaned up all of the everything else. I've eliminated everything else. And so if I want to clean up step number 2 as well, I've made a new file. I'm going to select all of the other layers, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, delete those. It contains artwork. Yes, that's fine. I'm fine with deleting the artwork on that. And then I'm going to delete all the other step 1 layers and any other extra layers here as well. Should they be deleted? Yes. And so I'm left with step number 2, and I'll save that. And for example, step number 3 also, I have a new file here for step number 3, so delete 7654. Yes, delete everything there. And delete 1 and 2 here. Yes, right? So again, it's important. I can't stress this enough. It is important to organize your diagram via layers. File, again, this is its own file now. I've got 7 files, 1 for each step. And they all align. The text aligns in each one, the graphic aligns in each one. And you see here in my layers palette, what I've done is I've broken out each of these into its own layer. So for example, this one here corresponds to that circle. This one corresponds to that circle, etc., etc., because I've determined which ones of these I want to animate independently in After Effects. And in order to animate something independently of anything else, it has to be on its own layer in Illustrator when you do the import into After Effects. So that's what I've done here. I've put every one of those on its own layer because I want to animate them independently.